Second chapter. Gleb was the son of a prince from ancient Rus, the city of Kyiv. Despite the privileges associated with his status, he often experienced feelings of loneliness and isolation. But he had a secret that gave him solace, a portal hidden under a large rock in the forest. Gleb discovered the portal as a child and has kept it a secret ever since. Whenever he wanted to be alone, he would sneak up to the portal and escape to another world. It was his personal retreat and he treasured it very much. Hiding in his shelter, Gleb often saw large groups of warriors with long hair gathered in tails, some on foot, others on horseback. Weapons were swords, spears, bows and arrows. Little Gleb watched with admiration the warriors with thin slits in their eyes, and their sharp features and ferocious expressions filled him with a sense of awe and wonder. As a youth, he did not lose interest and watched in fascination as the warriors moved through the forest, hunting for game. For him, they moved with such grace and ease, which Gleb had not yet seen. He wondered who they were and where they came from. Gleb was fascinated by the warriors of ancient Kyiv. He noticed that their clothes were different from those he was used to seeing in ancient Kyiv. The fabrics were different, the patterns were different, and even the colors were different. He knew that this was a different world, far from the one he knew. Growing up, Gleb often found himself under a rock in a small cave. It was his personal secret retreat, a place where he could be alone with his thoughts and enjoy the peaceful loneliness of the forest. He built a small shelter there where he could light a fire and keep warm during the cold months. He constantly fried meat on a fire. It has already become his favorite pastime. Gleb loved the sound of hissing meat during cooking, and the aroma that filled the air was simply heavenly. In addition to cooking, Gleb loved to read. In his hideout he kept several books and often spent hours reading them. It was a way for him to escape the loneliness he often felt and explore new worlds and ideas. What always attracted Gleb's attention was the tower seen in the distance. In the evenings he saw sentinel lights and often wondered who lived there. Was it a king or a queen? Mighty warrior or sage? Gleb could not help but imagine what life could be like for those who called the tower their home. Despite his curiosity, Gleb knew that he was satisfied with his life in the forest. He found a sense of peace and serenity he had never known before, and cherished every moment spent in his secret retreat. And today Gleb was sitting by the fire, savoring the taste of fried meat. He had no idea that a warrior from ancient Kyiv named Han Gyu was watching him from behind the trees. Han Gyu finally found the source of the smoke rising from Gleb's fire. Intrigued, he crept closer to find out who was responsible for his long and difficult journey. And when he saw it, he was fascinated by the picture. Watching from hiding as a young guy cooks and eats his food. He had never seen such a guy with blonde hair and strange clothes. Looking at him, Han Gyu felt admiration and envy at the same time. Gleb seemed so at ease in this wilderness, so comfortable in his own company. Hiding and watching Gleb from behind the trees for a long time, Han Gyu could not help but be amazed at the appearance of the young guy. His curly, shoulder-length blonde hair was unlike anything he had ever seen before. It seemed to shimmer in the gentle breeze that swept through the forest. Gleb's eyes were transparent, and his face was both bright and beautiful. Han Q was fascinated by the young boy's appearance, and he couldn't help but wonder where the miracle came from. Recovering his senses, Han Gyu thought about whether to approach the young guy. After all, he was a warrior and he knew he could frighten those who didn't know him. But there was something in Gleb's peaceful behavior that calmed him. In the end, Han Kyu decided to take a chance. He stepped out from behind the trees and walked slowly towards the fire, hoping not to frighten Gleb away. "Hi," he said softly, low and calm. "I couldn't help but notice the smoke from your fire. I hope I don't disturb you." Startled, Gleb quickly stood up when Han Kyu appeared from behind the trees. His book fell out of his hands. He tried to comprehend what was happening. The two warriors stood face to face, gazing at each other intently. Gleb was confused by the presence of Khan Gyu. His speech was unfamiliar. Gleb could not understand what he was saying. For a while, the two warriors simply stood in silence, not knowing what to do. But then Han Gyu slowly raised his hand in greeting, hoping to convey his peaceful intentions. "Hello," he said again, slowly and deliberately. "I am Han Kyu. I am from Korea. And you, who are you?" Gleb hesitated, not knowing what to answer. But something in Han Kyu's behavior calmed him, and he realized that the greeting must be answered. With a smile, Gleb raised his hand in greeting, repeating the gesture of Han Kyu. He sensed the warrior's peaceful intentions and felt more at ease. Their communication was limited to gestures, but they managed to understand each other.